Have you ever wondered why politicians, world leaders, and thought leaders speak so eloquently? And maybe you've asked yourself, can you speak like that? Well, like anything else, this is a skill that can be acquired. And we're going to start acquiring it right now by diving into the book review of Speak Like Churchill and Stand Like Lincoln by James C. Humes, coming up. If you're new here, my name is Christopher and welcome to my channel, the #1 place for peak performance entrepreneurship and personal growth. So on this book review, we're going to talk about Speak Like Churchill and Stand Like Lincoln. Now, this is not a book that's probably commonly known, or people don't even probably know who the author is, but this is definitely a hidden gem for anybody that wants to become a top speaker or communicator. And it says it right here. This is the 21 powerful secrets of history's greatest speakers. Now, before diving into the best ideas of the book, I just want to give you a background of the author in itself, Mr. Humes. He was actually a speechwriter for politicians and CEOs throughout his whole career. And the way that he breaks down the best way to present a speech and to do certain things to really command an audience and really get your point across in such an eloquent way is just phenomenal. So let's dive into the 5 best ideas that I got out of this book. The first best idea of the book is power pauses. Now, if you've already given a speech before, you've probably been told, hey, slow down, take a breath, take a pause. And it's completely normal as a human being. When you're doing a speech, you might be a bit anxious, nervous, excited. So you're starting off, you're going extremely fast and you have like this adrenaline that's going there. But that's not the best way to convey an information or for the audience to receive that information and digest it. The best way to go about it is take pauses within the information. Not only that, by taking particular pauses at the right places, it's a great tool to utilize to highlight certain informations. Such as, if I'm telling you one of the greatest tools to highlight information within your speech is taking a power pause. So what I just did there? I took a pause giving you the information of the power pause. And that pause could be very subtle, but it keeps the audience in waiting for that information. So maybe they're going to go at the edge of their seat to really listen to it. And if you really think about music in itself, I want to do a correlation here. The best melody is always after a pause. So if you think about the melody, dun 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 dun, dun 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 dun, that pause in between is the moment of the drop. So think about it as a drop. Think about it as a way to highlight the proper information that you want to convey and you want your audience to get out of this speech. The second best idea of the book is power opener. Now, this is my favorite part of the book because the author over here explains that most of the people that go on stage, they start by thanking the audience or thanking the organizers for inviting them to speak. Now, by doing that, there's 2 things that happen. First and foremost, the first part of your speech, the first sentence of your speech is prime real estate and you're utilizing it to thank the audience. And second of all, thanking the audience, it actually seems a bit unauthentic because they're assuming that you're going to thank them, but it seems like it's kind of organized and you're just saying it to say it because usually that's what people say. Now, if you flip it the other way around, you utilize that first part to say an information that's extremely important, catchy, or even thought-producing. It's going to attract your audience and hook them. Just like a YouTube video, right? If you don't have a good thumbnail or a good hook, people are not going to watch your video or click on your video and watch it until the end. So it's the same thing with this speech. If you're going on stage, you're walking up, people subconsciously or consciously are starting to think of, hey, who is this person? I wonder how his voice sounds like. And if you start off by saying thank you, it's going to not attract them as much to the information. But if you start off with a point that's extremely thought-producing, people are like, oh, wait a minute, what is he saying? And then you go through your speech. Now, obviously, still thank the people, but thank them in the middle of the speech or a certain part of the speech. By doing that, it's going to cut the barrier of saying it in the beginning. And second of all, it's going to feel so much more authentic. So really think about the prime real estate. The first sentence or so is extremely important. So what are you going to say to convey the proper information within that first sentence? If you see there's some value within this video so far, don't hesitate at all to give me a like, hit that subscribe button, and turn on the bell notification to find out when our weekly videos come out. So the word of the book for this book is paradox, which means a statement that is seemingly contradictory or opposed to common sense and yet is perhaps true. Paradox. The third best idea of the book is PowerPoint. Now, we're not talking about Microsoft Office over here. We're talking about what is the point, what is the main idea that you're trying to convey within this speech or this information that you're trying to give. Now, this is a very important question. Unfortunately, not a lot of speakers ask themselves this question when they're preparing their speech. Because if you start thinking about, hey, I want to teach them this, teach them that, and whatever the case is, you're going to be a bit all over the place. And when you're giving your speech, people are going to receive this information and they're going to be lost. So you have to ask yourself, even before you start preparing the speech, is what is the bottom line? If there's one main idea that I want the audience to go with and get out of this speech, what do you want it to be? Once you have that, then you create your speech accordingly towards that idea. Don't have more than one because it gets confusing. Have one and really get that clear, concise, and drill it in throughout your speech consistently. The fourth best idea of the book is power quotes. Now, this is a tool that's extremely important to utilize within your speech because when you use quotes, it solidifies the information that you're trying to convey to your audience. Now, there's three main things that you have to look at when it comes to using quotes. First and foremost, the person you're quoting has to be commonly known and the quote has to be brief, so not too long, something that's well digestible. The second thing is you have to be comfortable using this quote and knowing the content of the quote that you're using. And the third thing is don't overuse quotes within your speech. Too much is not enough. I would suggest to stick to one or maybe two quotes throughout your speech, pending how long your speech is. I would go with most probably one and refer back to it when need be. As well, when you use quotes during your speech, it gives another energy to your crowd. It gives them it arises their attention once again because people are attracted to quotes. So it's a great way to get their attention and get them to convey the proper information that you're trying to convey to this audience. The fifth best idea of the book is power wit. Now, there's a misconception that in the beginning of your speech, you have to say a joke to win over your audience. Now, if you're not somebody that's funny, that's probably not going to work because the joke is not just reading something, it's the way you deliver it as well. Now, you could replace that by a witty comment or a thought-producing ideology because the reality of the matter is wittiness conveys the same amount of intelligence as somebody that's funny or humor in itself. So think about something that you could say that's thought-producing. Just be yourself. If you're funny, that's perfectly okay. If you're not, witty ideas are great as well to convey and get that audience to really listen to you. Sometimes it happens when a book has an amazing, attracting title, the information within it is just not up to par. Now, it wasn't the case with this book over here, with the title being Speak Like Churchill and Stand Like Lincoln, and the information being even better than the title in itself. So much so that I remember reading it in the beginning and just taking a step back and just being in surprise of how do I not know about this book up to this point? Because the information here is just phenomenal, especially being a professional speaker. I feel like I should have known about this book. Another thing that I love about this book is that the author breaks apart very known politicians and speakers and takes their best speeches and breaks it apart and shows you how you can do exactly the same thing. So if you're somebody that wants to improve your communication skills and just have such an ease to command a stage and an audience, this book is a must. The Amazon link will be in the description below, so go ahead and pick up this book. Furthermore, the question of the day is, what is the best advice for public speaking you have received? Comment it down below. Would love to see what the community is going to say on that end, and we'll start a conversation with that. Furthermore, there's some videos over here that can interest you. Over here, you have my book reviewing series. Over here, you have my entrepreneurship series. Over here, you have my peak performance series, and you have my profile picture. You guys can click, subscribe, and join the family. I hope you guys have a blessed and grateful day.